Joining us now, Political Editor Andrew Clennell, as he always does on a Tuesday. Andrew, good morning to you. So the second stimulus package, what will it involve?
Well, I mean, hearing Mathias Cormann there, and I can really only go on that, sounds like at least another 10 billion to me. And it sounds like, again, pretty targeted stuff. I thought the aviation sector might be getting something. Simon Birmingham seemed to indicate that might be down the track, but not now. The tourism sector, small business. Look, it's just going to be trying to save industries. You know, maybe there will be something for the NRL. Maybe there will be something for sport. Maybe there will be something for the arts community. Maybe there'll be something for the media industry. Who knows? But, I mean, essentially, they are seeing the prospect of businesses going broke, and particularly small to medium-sized businesses, and they are seeing a whole bunch of layoffs, and they have to address that. It is extraordinary to have an announcement on the Thursday and be foreshadowing of $17 billion. And be foreshadowing another multi-billion-dollar announcement 4 days later. I've never seen anything like it.
It's a day-to-day proposition, and rightly so, because we see things changing hour by hour. Look at what's happening in the EU, France, the US, Canada, all happened in the last couple of hours, basically shutdowns of their entire economy. Now, Australia seems to be about 2 weeks behind some of these nations when it comes to infection rate and response to it. But I detected a really different change in language today, particularly from Mathias Cormann, just being upfront and honest, not defeatist, but saying jobs will be lost, significant numbers, and businesses will go to the wall here.
Well, they are being lost already, I believe, because businesses probably haven't felt the effect so much yet, but they're anticipating it, and maybe they're seeing the first part of the effect. And I don't see any reason why we shouldn't, and I haven't got any informed opinion on this from government or anything like that, but I don't see any reason why we should not be fearing a 10% unemployment rate. That's what we had in the last recession in the early 90s. You are talking about hundreds of thousands of jobs going.
And is that social unrest? It leads to potentially social
Well,
unrest?
it didn't used to, but let's see how it goes down these days. But, I mean, we're probably going to get this ban tonight on more than 100 people to gathering, as I foreshadowed yesterday. That would indicate a lot of pubs and clubs might close, for example. A lot of jobs there, a lot of casual jobs there. They're talking to the industry, they're sort of saying, look, we'll stay open in any form. If we have to limit our numbers to 80, to 50, our people will do it. They understand what's going on. I think we'll see that potentially from tonight or tomorrow morning. You've seen the tourism sector just whacked. Qantas, you know, cut off more than half its flights and offering refunds to people. It's really bad news everywhere you look.
Andrew, it was really interesting to talk to Wayne Swan this morning, because he went through this 10 years ago. He was a treasurer during the GFC. This is very different, but it is now a financial crisis. And
I think it's worse.
It is much worse. But his advice, and, you know, take it with a grain of salt, but his advice and the points he made was that you've got to act quickly. You can't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Mistakes will be made. You've got to accept those down the track. And I also thought was really interesting, the key difference here is that there was more global coordination in the GFC. George Bush called a G7 meeting within days of the Lehman Brothers collapsing. Now, there hasn't quite been a Lehman Brothers moment in all of this, but there hasn't been that coordination. Donald Trump being the leader in the US may have changed all of that, because he was quite slow to the take up here. Sure.
Look, the other aspect there was China was largely insulated, and we rely on them, you know, biggest export partner. So the fact they've been affected is what's really going to kill us, I think, to be honest. And, you know, the rhetoric there is clear. We can't save every job and we can't save every business, and they can't, because that is not the job of government, to save every job and every business and put us in a situation with debt we can't end up getting out of. But they can do a lot. And in terms of going sort of fast, well, I think the evidence is they are, because they're announcing 18 billion one day, 4 days later, more than 10 billion coming this week, I'm sure. Maybe 15, 20, who knows, but more than 10 you'd have to say from what they were saying. So I just hope out of this, one thing that does happen, because there's opportunity there, and there's been shortage after the electricity sale in New South Wales to do it, is we get cracking with infrastructure. I mean, it's kind of the old Franklin Roosevelt build rail lines model, but there's an opportunity. I know they need to get cash out the door, but there's also an opportunity to go into debt. Debt's cheap, to finance big infrastructure projects. high-speed rail, whatever, metro lines, Western Metro, because that's really helped the New South Wales economy. It can help the Australian economy. I hope it's not just school halls because they're easy to build quickly. It doesn't take as much planning time. I hope there's enough planning around that governments can get on with these infrastructure projects. It's, you know, a light at the end of the tunnel in all this.
Cash handouts?
Oh, undoubtedly. I mean, if not this week, down the track, I think for sure, and more widespread. You'd have to look at it at least.
Big families. This has gone to families on family tax benefit A and B, but families are going to be the ones that get out there and spend money the most, particularly if their kids aren't at school.
Well, what if they're stuck at home? You know, I mean, this is the real concern. What if the pubs are shut? What if the restaurants are shut? I mean, you know, we need to make a joke about something in the middle of this because it's so dark.
There's going to be more videos of that guy with the sock in the morning. People are getting up to all kinds of stuff in their boredom. But yeah, there is a serious undertone to all of that, of course, and that's that jobs situation, which 10%, that's significant if it gets anywhere near there.
Well, it depends how long it goes. Yeah. And look, until someone gets a vaccine, you'd have to think it'd go 6 months. So if it goes 2 months, that wouldn't happen. But if it goes till the end of the year, one of the most shocking things yesterday was the ACT Chief Minister telling Kieran Gilbert, if we shut the schools, it's all year. And that really just made it quite stark what you're looking at with school closures, the effect of it.
And that's an economic shutdown, effectively. Andrew, thank you.